Hello, welcome back to Mr. Arsenal podcast. See, I'm back 10 minutes or 15 minutes later than after the last stream I had to do with England. Fucking what's that crap? But we're doing a bit of a Premier League catch up. Last one we sort of did a Premier League show just before the season started. So I thought, literally international break, just before the end of it, we'll come together for the last knock-ins and see where everyone's mindsets are at. Obviously, with Everton, Man United, Newcastle, respective ourselves, and also get a neutral perspective from all our different perspectives of our respective clubs, and sort of have a laugh and try and cheer Jin up as well, because he's a bit of a predicament moment with his club at the moment. But we'll get into that in a minute. As you can see, obviously, John is, as I said, the Newcastle fan. Melvin's back and ready for next week.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Oh dear. Obviously, Rose is back on the channel as well, been on before, representing Everton. Daniel, Man United fan. Devil was in the devil in the detail. And we've got Daniel for a little bit, so we're going to go straight to Man United first and sort of get your thoughts, Daniel, and your not just this season, but where your mindset is at with Man United at the moment.
In isolation, I'm fine. But the problem is, as a football fan, you can't be a fan in isolation. The rest of the fan base affect your mood. And every single time Manchester United lose or draw a game, you just have these people who don't believe in Ollie, don't believe in a rebuild that's going to take longer than they want to. They just come out the woodworks and just trash everything that we're doing. But in isolation, the season's going just as I expected it to be honest with you. Given I rated our transfer window a 6 out of 10. Some people thought that was too high. So my prediction was we'd finish the season on about 74 points. And depending on what happened around us, we'd finish third or fourth. Because when you get 74 points in the Premier League history, you usually finish in the top 4. So we're trending to do just about that. In January, I thought we might kick on beyond that and maybe challenge for a title. And that's only because Martial at that point had 2 Premier League goals, and I thought he'd kick on. Because I found it strange that we were at the top of the league, and one of our most important players last season was Martial, and he's had a terrible season up until that point. But he hasn't kicked on. We are where we are. So I expect after the international break, I think we'll put a run of games together. We'll definitely qualify for the top 4, again, around 74 points like I thought. And I think we probably win the Europa League as well. I'm confident about that. Although I don't want to face Arsenal in the final. I do not want to face Arsenal. That's the only thing. As long as we don't face Arsenal in the final. I did. I just don't want to play Arsenal in the final because I think Arteta has Ollie's number. But again, if just based on what I expected, the season's going as I planned. But again, if I'm looking at Man United's history and the rest of my fan base who are absolutely angry about everything, then I should be swearing right now and being, but no, I'm fine.
Not 9 o'clock yet.
Try being an Arsenal fan.
By saying that I'm satisfied. No, I said the same thing. I've been defending Arteta all season because I'm like, I predicted Arsenal to finish 7th because the quality of your squad tells me you're a 7th place team. So are you a team that pretends to be a 4th place team and then finish 7th, or do you just show us what you are for most of the season, hover around the table and then finish where you're supposed to?
Arsenal just consistently inconsistent this season. I mean, we went for a month and a half between November 1st. After we beat you, we didn't win a game until Boxing Day in the league. That's how boring it is.
Seeing that run of fixtures. Losses and losses and losses and losses. Only green tick is against Man United.
That was again at the time a frustrating thing for an Arsenal fan. It was like, we beat you. We weren't the best again, so don't get me wrong, and the penalty was debatable or whatever. But then you were the team to kick on. You went flying up the league. We just fell back, and at one point it didn't look good for us in the league.
It's just the moment. It's just, I think with that fixture, we play the history of the fixture, and you guys get up for it. So you'll get up for Man United. Your best players will, and Arteta tactically seems to have Ollie's number. But then you go play, a West Brom the following week, and you just won't be as motivated. That's just, everybody sort of gets up a bit more for Manchester. You've seen that with Everton this season. Like, we had them, Roseville, we had you guys banterites 3-1 up, I think we were. Just go away, just die.
Ouch.
and they just wouldn't die.
No.
Oh, dear. But yeah, I mean, Rose, what are your thoughts on Man United and how their season's panned out so far? Because I was just saying before we brought Daniel in backstage, I was saying for me, it's been a bit of a dodgy start, got their consistency, and then the sort of domestic cup-wise has been a bit of hit and miss as well. It's been a bit of a 50-50 season for them, but I think league-wise they'll be happy to be where they are.
Yeah, definitely. I think, a lot of the teams that I would expect to be in and around there, your Liverpool, Spurs, yourselves as well, just haven't been there. And so United will be happy in terms of the league, but you guys lost 3-1 to Leicester. Is that in the cup? So I think that'll be really disappointing for United. I think you mentioned it there. It's the United fan, their fans are not going to be happy unless they're winning trophies, because they've been so consistent for so long. Now this is their longest period without a trophy. So when they didn't get Sancho, it was a nightmare. They still have the league position doesn't lie at this point. They have the second best squad in the league. It's unfortunate that they're out of the Champions League. Didn't win a trophy, get used to it, try 25, 30 years of it, then then come back to me and talk. But, it's so they'll qualify for the Champions League. That's good, considering that Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs probably will miss out for next year. So I think United fans should be happy. And, if they invest wisely in the summer, they can try and challenge Man City next season.
That's another topic altogether. United investing wisely. Oh my God! Don't get me started.
I don't know what's worse, your recruitment or our recruitment, Arsenal. Bloody hell.
But at least, you know what? I tell you what. At least, right? So you guys wasted all that money on Pepe, but at least you spread it over 4 years.
Yeah, and also since then as well, in terms of since Arteta's come in, apart from Willian, it hasn't really kicked on like we thought it would at the time because of he's the Premier League, we didn't need time to settle in. Apart from him, the players Arteta himself has gone out and brought in, even recently, Odegaard on loan. They've all worked, and they're all to a system that he wants. And this is, it must be frustrating for yourself that it seemed like you were going to do that with Odegaard and Solskjaer at Man United, and then suddenly last summer it sort of went. Actually, we're going to hold back a bit, and you've got Cavani at the last minute.
It's why, in my opinion, we won't find out about this for a long time, but I think Woodward has finally been demoted because the argument people put forward is that he brings a lot of money in for the Glazers, but he wastes their money by the way he manages the football side of things. He doesn't, if all they care about is getting their dividends, well, you need to make sure you don't waste money on the football operations to make sure you get more dividends. And he's been wasteful. So we've invested... the reason why we ended up with Daniel James, by the way, is because we paid £80 million cash up front for Maguire. That's the type of things that he was overseeing us doing. That's why I was saying, at least Pepe, you spread the money over 4 years. So you're not, your cash isn't completely depleted. Our cash was depleted because of that, and then COVID hit. But, moving forward, we have a new structure. Woodward now is far away from, this guy used to look at players, recruit players. I don't know if you've ever seen that clip of him talking about Schweinsteiger and what a great signing was and the theory it would strike in the opposition. Just the guy was clueless. So the further away he is from our transfers, the better. But like you said, last summer, we had a free run at Sancho, didn't capitalize. We've had a free run at Grealish for 2 seasons, haven't capitalized. In Ollie's first summer, Declan Rice was targeted as a player. Everybody laughed because he's English, he doesn't have flair, overrated player from West Ham. I think people realize now Declan Rice is a pretty good flipping football player. So I just want to see Ollie get the players that he wants over a 3-year period, clear out the deadwood from Mourinho. We've got remnants. This is the thing with the Man United squad. We've got remnants of Sir Alex Ferguson players, just a few in the background. Remnants of LVG's players as well. A midfield that was built by Mourinho. We need to get rid of all of this before another manager comes in. Bringing in an Allegri or a Pochettino, we're just setting them up to fail. We'll give them 2 seasons. Expectations will get too high. They won't meet them. And then we'll just go on to the next manager. We can't keep doing that. Ollie hasn't been brought in to win a league title. Most Man United fans know that, but they don't want to accept that because they think we can just click our fingers, 3 years, good for recruitment, back at the top. Not going to happen. Same thing with Arsenal. It's not going to happen. Your trajectory now is a long-term one. It's a long-term one, 3 to 5 years. I'm glad I'm not the only person who ends up on streams of their just looking at the camera, hoping their toddler just leaves them alone.
But, it's like I said, it's a project, but also, Ollie's not going to be the man, but he's the one to get the foundations in place for the next man to come in to not have to put all that work in just to come in and go bang. Because
you know what it is,
Ferguson,
right? My thing is this. Sorry, Ryan. My thing is this. It's better for anybody, to inherit the pieces from one person than 3 other people.
Yeah.
Rather than get a mismatch of a team from 3 different managers, just inherit something that was built by one person with clear characteristics, a clear way of how they wanted to play with the player profiles, etc., and then you work with that, as opposed to LVG, Mourinho, and then Oli players as well. Jesus Christ, like we're just setting up managers to fail if we keep doing that. So
yeah, and it's also like Roger said, and you just touched on Man United fans as well. Because of the Ferguson era, what he built up over 2 decades, 3 decades of work that he put in, because they're so used to that, they don't want to, even though they accept it, they see it, but they don't want to accept it at the same time because they're so used to that taste of winning the title and competing at the European stage and things like that. And they thought
it's not just that.
And he did try sort of cut. They sort of went against their own oath of not ever hiring Mourinho, and he went to go hire Mourinho against Bobby Charlton and Ferguson's own. Basically. That didn't work because of what you've said.
It's not just that as well. It's like, if you didn't have Arteta right now, I know half your fan base still just can't readjust their minds to your reality. But then you've got another half of your fan base that realizes, okay, this is a long-term project now. Whereas if you had another Emery type, you'd have false hope again. The second you appoint somebody like that, it's impossible not to expect significant change in 2 to 3 years. It's just impossible. You can't. So if we hired an Allegri, for example, I'm sorry, that's not a 5-year project. If you hire,
he wants immediate stuff.
And even those managers. Imagine if we hired Conte, and Conte had the summer that Oli had last summer. He would have kicked off, and that would have affected the dressing room. I keep telling people a new requirement for the Manchester United manager should be how to navigate Ed Woodward, because you need to have the temperament to navigate him. Because if you can't, you're going to kick off. You're going to think about yourself and your reputation as a manager. You know you've got a 2 to 3 year window. If he's not delivering for you, you're going to let everybody know to protect yourself. That's what Mourinho did. That's why Mourinho wanted everybody to know. This is my greatest achievement, finishing second. I'm not happy with the squad. I haven't got what I wanted. So you guys know when I fail here, it's because of Woodward. But that doesn't help the football club, you know? So,
But also touched on Man United. Obviously, Nicky Butt's left, and he's a bit of taste in his mouth because he's not happy that Darren Fletcher has been given a role that he thinks he deserves more so because he's put more graft in. What are your thoughts on that as well? Because are you on his side or are you on
that? No, so my thought on that, again, just I'm not your average football fan. I don't deal with things on the surface level. My life experience just comes into things. What that says to me is that he just didn't politic very well. There are some people in work environments, they know when to be by the water cooler because there's an important conversation happening when people are having a cup of tea. Like, you just know if you're in an office and the CEO and someone else goes to have a cup of tea and you know there's changes happening in the company, you're supposed to get up and make sure you're having a cup of tea when they are. Do you know what I mean? So what's happened is Darren Fletcher somehow has come in, impressed, immersed himself with the right people, and he's got the job that Nicky Butt should have got. Because the big misconception that this is the thing with Man United fans again. Man United fans just don't read about their own football club. John Murtough has been implementing data analytics for 2 years at Man United, or a little bit longer actually. He's been overseeing the recruitment process as well. And, you know, so we've promoted somebody within the football club who's been doing a good job. Man United fans are happy with the recruitment at youth level. We look at the profile of players and we're like, how can we have wingers galore at youth level, but we don't have wingers galore at the first team? That doesn't make any sense. How are we poaching these players from Barcelona's academy and beating PSG to these players? You know, so we've promoted the person that did that at youth recruitment level. And again, data analytics is a new thing in football. It's not the old model, the technical director model that people want at Man United. This is an old model that, you know, in Spain and Italy and Germany was very, very popular. They still do it. It's just we're implementing a new model that has data analytics. And John Murtough is actually qualified to do that. And for people who don't really understand, I mean, Manchester City have just hired 2 astronauts from NASA to be part of their data analytics team. And this is the thing that people don't realize: data analytics. So it's these are people from a physics background. It's the convergence of science, which has always happened in football from a physical level, right? You know that as Arsenal fans with Arsene Wenger, right? I'm sure you guys have heard Paul Merson talking about being injected with yellow stuff, and he had no idea what it was back in the 90s. Yeah.
when he first came in,
So
like 6, like 7
on
years.
the scouting thing, this is the same thing. It's the convergence of science and football. Data analytics is a big part. Liverpool are leading the way, so United have decided to go with this model as opposed to a technical director that decides everything. That's all. So Nicky Butt just didn't play the game and got overlooked. He thought he could. And don't get me wrong, you should be able to turn up to work for 8 years, work hard, and the people above you recognize your value. That just didn't happen. He got overlooked and he moved on. So I'm not angry about it. It's just, it is what it is. There are some Man United fans, and I've been keeping receipts on Twitter, who have never been fans of Nicky Butt because he's not a charismatic. He's not part of the hipster crew. He's not German. He's not Spanish. I don't know if you've noticed, none of the 1992 team are incredibly charismatic or articulate.
I can't think
so
why.
he doesn't really. So Man United fans who were, say, Ollie out and aren't fans of the Glazers and the structure and our coaching, were never fans of him anyway. But now they're angry about this. It's just like, please stop it. You weren't a fan of him anyway. So yeah, that's just how I feel about that. I'm not. It's just life. It just happens. That's what happens. People get overlooked all the time.
Yeah, over and over again he's in the chat. He's saying that right there, the NASA thing sums up where football has gone wrong since 2010.
No, that's not where football's gone wrong. That's where it's heading towards. So what we have at Man United is a scouting department with chief scouts who oversee apparently 20,000 scouts, but I don't know how true that is. And then
we have no scouts now, apparently.
But you combine that with data analytics. So when you go on Twitter and you see all these people telling you, like, they're drawing arrows, this shot came from this direction, here's the X and Y position for these players doing these things. This is what data analytics is. So you love it on Twitter, but you don't want it at your football club. That doesn't make any sense. Like, you have to have both. And Arsenal, you guys went down this road, I believe, with the Sven guy, the Swedish guy that you had.
Also, Ivan Gazidis. Also, Sven Misson in tap, but also we had Ivan Gazidis. In the summer, we bought Xhaka. Yeah, the summer we bought Xhaka. N'Golo Kante, the deal was pretty much done for 5 million more, but it was all done. He wanted to come. Everything was pretty much done, dusted. At the last minute, Ivan Gazidis comes in and says, for 5 million less, on Stats DNA, Xhaka will be more worthwhile to us, a bigger asset to us going forward, down the line. And then that's how we ended up with Granit Xhaka, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
But that's why you need the combination of the eye test and the data analytics. And that's what we have at Man United. We have chief scouts who are proven. No one ever talks about the scouts at Man United. Man United fans that complain about our structure. Like, our scouts are experienced football people. They've got good track records. It's just, we just didn't have a structure around them. Now we have that. Feel bad for Nicky Butt. Apparently he's going to go and work with David Beckham and Wayne Rooney, which always proves my point that I say to people is, have you noticed in football, people just go and work with their buddies and who they know? Is not always, it's sometimes who you know. It's not an industry that just says, this person done well over here, so we'll come and hire him over here. It's not how it doesn't always work that way. So, that's just how I feel.
I want to touch on something that Ryan said there. So I watched that Man City documentary like years ago, like the first one that they did on Prime. And even then, like, I got mad as an Evertonian because it was filmed however many years ago. And they were like scouting all the players. They were like, oh yeah, John Stones from Everton would be good for 8 years. And now look what he's doing now. So they at Everton, I think we had that period that you guys are on about under Allardyce and Steve Walsh. We signed 3 players for the same position. We signed 3 number 10s. We brought Rooney back, we got Klaassen, we got Sigurdsson, and that was the season that Lukaku went to United. And so, like, there was no plan. Since we've got Marcel Brands in, there seems not all of them have worked out. Like, we signed Iwobi, who is just
thank you.
So inconsistent. It's terrible. You guys will know. But like, the recruitment last summer, like, there's been a definite change in the players that we're trying to sign. They suit Ancelotti's style. But Man City and I think Liverpool as well, like you said, they've just been ahead of the curve. And like, other teams have been signing players for managers, but Man City had a clear plan of who Guardiola would want, how many years they would stay, the fees. I mean, I know they got laughed at for spending however much on Carl Walker and, 50 million on each fullback, but they're getting the rewards, so they won't care. Like, they're winning the trophies.
But Rose, there's no problem recruiting for a manager if you back him all the way. So at Everton, he needed Allen. he needed he plays a diamond. He needs a specialist who can play the single pivot position. At Man United, this is what we do. We'll sign Lukaku under Mourinho. The Mourinho will tell the club, right, so you realise we don't have any natural wingers, so I need Perisic, because all Perisic will care about is getting to the byline and crossing for Lukaku, because that's what he feeds off. We wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. If you're going to hire a manager...
Two windows, that was Perisic as well.
Yeah.
Two times we tried doing it.
And we just wouldn't do it, because Marcus Rashford and Martial, they're not wingers. They don't care about creating for somebody else in that way. His bread and butter is he needs crosses. That's what he feeds on. So to Rose's point, it's okay to recruit for a manager as long as you just get the players that he wants for his system. I like Ancelotti. Ancelotti's one of my favourite managers. I've grown up with him throughout my entire life. He has a clear system.
What he did at AC Milan was fantastic.
Yeah. He played a diamond at AC Milan. What he needs he's got a proven track record with that diamond. Recruit players for what he wants or don't bother. And Everton actually realised, all right, let's get him what he wants. So it makes sense.
You know what? Arsenal have had the best recruitment, I reckon, system. You can talk all about this plans and all that. What we've done up to, didn't do it this year or the year before, but the last few years been doing it, is not necessarily look for players for positions. We go to two agents and say, what you got?
Yeah.
Honestly, you think I'm joking? Is that right, Ryan?
That's what Stein did.
What you got?
Raul,
if you want a bit cheaper, we'll have that one. We don't need him, but it's a bargain compared to the other people you just offered me.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting, though, about Arsenal? Sorry, it's just at least you change things. So before you did the agent thing, just trusting agents, you had a data analytics company and they were the Swedish guy.
And
at least you've changed things.
Yeah.
Now if this doesn't work, you'll change it again. At least you'll change it again. Whereas at Man United, we've had to wait 8 years for this.
Yeah, that's true. But that whole agent thing came when we brought in, and Ivan Gazidis brought in again. Ivan Gazidis, it all goes back to Ivan Gazidis when he brought in Don Raul. When he brought Raul in. And as we found out when Tim Lewis was pointing to the board, Raul was a very naughty boy, taking money out of our purse. Extra bit of bunch here and there, hence why we had to pay 72 mil for Pepe and all that. Even though it's staggered, there's little things here and there that are in the deal that do so much. He and the agent would get X amount in rewards, basically, and things like that. So he got done for that. And there's other deals they're looking into that he was involved in. No, it's no coincidence. The second he was gone, that he left, that Kia agent, basically, since the second Raul goes, he goes quiet. Because up till then, Kia's going on all the fucking talk sports, this, that, and the other. I've got all these players ready to come to Arsenal. Everything's done with Raul, this, that, and the other. And I was just like, no. And now that's what I'm saying. And now with the structure we're sitting at Arsenal, since Raul's gone, giving Arteta a manager's role now, so he's more involved in the recruitment of what we bring in and having more involvement, unlike what Unai Emery had and things like that. But like I said, bar Willian, every signing that Arteta has made so far, touch wood, has worked. It does fit the system he wants to go forward as well. And the players and everyone that comes in, even if it's a loan, he makes a call. And he says, every player comes that says, it's him that convinces us because we're unsure up till then. But whatever he's saying on the phone, that's what's turning them to go, okay, even if it's short term, we're committed to this. So
right, I've got to go. But before I go, what I was just going to say is that under Arteta, one thing that Arsenal, I'm 33 years old, so I've grown up Arsenal. I have a particular view of Arsenal. There was a time when you prided yourself in having the best technical football players in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And how you've gone away from that, I do not understand. It's baffled me completely. When I look at an Arsenal team and you're not the most superior technical team, even if you're weak physically, you don't have to steal. You always had a mentality problem, even with Wenger, not keeping leads, set pieces, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But you played the best football. And then that disappeared. And under Arteta, it seems like you want to get that back.
Yeah, and he said since day one that's what he wants to get back at Arsenal, because after he left, he realised it was dissipating. It was going that attacking, technical, good on the eye football. But also, I think that all started falling apart the second we went unbeaten. Once we finished that season, Wenger sort of dissipated that squad. Kanu leaves for free, Ray Parlour leaves for free. Keown
Not true,
left
but
the three.
that was
And it's-
03
and it's like-
04.
But I'm saying no. It's
Had-
it still started from then because he started dismembering that squad, but he never replaced them. Like Vieira went the following season, he never replaced Vieira type players, but the attacking football was still there. Like we're saying,
Yeah.
but over time, it sort of grinded on the players, and they just thought, "Fuck!" It's all the last couple of seasons they didn't want to play for Wenger. The last 2 seasons, really, you could tell the way that the football just went. Then Emery comes in, and he's inheriting a Wenger squad with a few of his players, and then obviously it didn't work out for him. They all then form a clique and then get him out, and now Arteta then comes in after Nürnberg gets done over as well, and now it's like there's three different sort of sets of managers players there at the moment. There's still a bit of Wenger there. There's a bit of Unai Emery, a little bit, but it does seem like they're on their way out, and there's some of these, but. I think this summer, if he is to stay, and there's obviously I don't think the club will sack him, but as long as they don't do that, this summer is the biggest summer of his early career so far, because after this window coming, it's going to be his squad, no matter what. He's been he'll be a year and a half. He's the second term summer window. Most of the players, most dependent, because obviously
because we get this argument with Ollie out as they say it's his squad. If you recruit players for Arteta,
well, most of the Wenger players are gone now, apart from things like Granit. And
well, who do you have out on loan that may come back? Because we have that problem. United. We thought we were waving Pereira off to Lazio. He's played
back.
like 5 games and he's coming back. So it's like
reset.
It's like reset again. We have to try and sell this guy for an unrealistic amount of
Guendouzi
money
we
we're
got?
going to get for him.
Kolasinac is the only one coming back on loan. All the others that went in January are gone.
What about the
Torreira? What about Torreira?
Torreira, but he wants to go.
loan.
He's on loan, but he wants to go anyway. He doesn't want to come back.
Okay. All I'm saying is, like, I'm not saying this because I'm one of those fans like Arteta's doing a good job.
No, yeah.
Honestly, the worst thing you can do is deviate from the path you're on now.
You
just need to get a foundation that's solid and stable, and I think Arteta can do that for you guys. So, I mean, obviously, I want him to fail, but I actually think the worst thing you guys could do is sack him, get the next hipster manager that everybody's high on, and I think Arsenal can get back to the top in 2 years. It's not going to work. It just doesn't work like that anymore. I've got to go, Ryan, but thank you for having me. Rose, nice to see you again. Signing to talk with the other two gentlemen, but
all the best.
I'll be back on soon. Thank you,
no
Ryan.
worries.
Yeah, all the best. Bye.
And sort of, we've got Red's podcast in the 1892 podcast in the chat saying massive game for both Arsenal and Liverpool next weekend. Actually, that's the ironic thing. Even though Liverpool are the current champions, they are literally, if they were to lose at the Emirates, they are then 3 points behind us, which is bizarre. And if you said that at the start of the season, we were at this start of the season, we'll be 3 points behind Liverpool if we beat them this weekend coming. In that mindset, you'd think we'd be in the top four, like in the actual top four.
I think we'd be winning
not
the league.
Mid-table. Yeah, you wouldn't think you're in the fucking mediocrity or fucking mid-table. Oh dear. But there was a comment from Joe in the chat earlier about who would you rather, basically James Rodriguez or Mesut Ozil? I think we all know the answer to that one. James.
Yeah.
No way you can.
Wow.
But, we'll go to those now of Everton, and again, I think a really good season. Again, I think Joe, someone else said in the chat, arguably the best recruitment this season. You've gone and addressed the areas that needed addressing in the midfield, and there's times where you do the Everton thing about what the Spurs, the Everton equivalent of what Spurs do, basically, and bottle things every now and then, but not consistently. Now it's getting drained out of you, drained out the club by Ancelotti because of the mindset of what he is. Because he does want to win, get you guys competing. He wouldn't be there otherwise. He wouldn't sign the players he signed.
Exactly.
I mean, Alan and Decoy for me have been the signings of the season in the sense of they were what you needed. And Alan himself has fitted right. He didn't need time to adjust. He said, bang.
Yeah, I think it's what I expected, to be honest, because we have had some terrible injuries as well. I mean, Luca Dean's been out for a few months. Alan himself was out for a couple of months. Hammers hasn't played every single game. We knew that he wasn't going to. He's not match fit to do that in the Premier League. But then, so what I've been most impressed with Everton is that actually playing the big teams, you know, getting the Anfield
The hoodoo off your back there.
like off our back. It's sad that there were no fans there, because I know that a lot of fans stand there when we're losing 4-0, 5-0, getting hammered, and completely Everton to go and win, you know, when there's nobody there, essentially. I'll take it, because at least they can't say 1999 to us anymore. We've beaten them. It has just been disappointing, because the likes of yourselves, Spurs, Liverpool, we've lost some very questionable games as well. I mean, Newcastle have done a double over us. Fulham have beaten us at home. West Ham, Southampton, I think, Leeds. And so we have lost games that I would expect us to win, based on the fact that we've beaten Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, drawn away at Manchester United. It has just been inconsistent. But it's what I expected. We finished 12th last season. If we can finish from 6th to 8th, I'll take it as an Everton fan. And then we build again in the summer. Really good news about the stadium. So things are going in the right direction.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't
can I ask Rose a question?
Go on.
If you didn't have your history, forget about that, and you were watching Everton, and they'd just come into the league and they're playing like that, I would suspect you'd think they could be a lot higher than 6th or 8th, because they do look, on their day, they look terrific. And they've got individual players that I think are very, very good. We'd love to have, we'd love to sign 3 or 4 of them, actually. Off the top of my head, I can think of that I'd love to sign. And also, they seem to play as a team. The guy that I love at your team, he's been with you for years, and he's obviously made mistakes probably, but he's got the passion. He's the right back. You've got Coleman. To have a right back like that, he bombs up and down, he gets stuck in, he doesn't take any nonsense. You can see his heart is in it. And no flash with him. He just gets on, does his job week in, week out, and he's solid at the back, and he's very, very good going forward. I just think he's a terrific player. And he doesn't get the plaudits I think he deserves. There's always someone at Everton to take it from him, if you know what I mean. End of the game, they go, oh, so-and-so's played well. Yeah, but this geezer's played well 9 out of the last 10 games.
Definitely. I think, you know, we had Leighton Baines and Seamus Coleman, and I think they were 2 of the most underrated, maybe 5 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. Best fullback pairing, in my opinion, at a time, you know, not for the whole time, but really, really good. Definitely.
Bro, so can I say something to you as well? I mean, for Everton, I mean, there's a player I love for your team as well. I mean, I'm not sure he's in the first team now. I think the guy is called Tom Davies. I think the guy attacked Newcastle tomorrow. I think he's fantastic.
He's had his best season. Sure.
You can spot him because of his fair hair, can't you? So you know when he's got the ball. Even with my bad eyesight, I spot him. But you know, he's always on the ball. He's always looking to go forward. He reminds me of a bit, not just because of the hair, of a Ray Parlour type player.
Yeah, John, you've muted yourself. You've muted yourself.
Yes.
Yes. Not my end. No, you're still muted.
No, can't hear you.
Have a look. No,
3 syllables.
Your mic's disconnected.
Yeah.
I was just checking to say. But yeah, go on. While we're trying to get Tom
We're
back.
just on Coleman as well. It says £60,000, and it's like probably the best £60,000 ever spent, you know, at Everton. So I think Shane just said that in the comments.
Yeah, wow. John, I don't know what's happened, but yeah, I'm trying to bring you back in, but it's saying that their mic isn't connected. So
something fallen out.
I think it's headphones. We took his headphones out. I don't know. Refresh the page and see if it works and you come back in.
Do you live near the ground, Rose?
No, I live in London actually. So I was born in Liverpool, grew up elsewhere. Yeah. So I live in London. The reason I started my channel is because not many Evertonians down here, so it was a good way to build a community.
Good. Lovely, brilliant.
Yeah. I was gonna say, for anyone that doesn't know, he'll be coming back in a sec, I think. But anyone that doesn't know, this weekend the government have approved Everton's new stadium, giving the thumbs up.
I didn't know that. Oh, it's
Yeah,
brilliant
I
news.
think it was Friday. I think because Rose did a video on her channel as well, and so all go ahead now. When's that due to be open up though? Like ready to go?
3 years time. 52,000 seater. It's needed. There's a 10,000 people waiting list for Goodison. I love Goodison. I've said this on my channel as well, but it's just time to go to a new stadium. I love it. You know, you go there and you can't see the final third of the pitch, and because there's a pillar in the way, but it makes Goodison Goodison. We've got a lot of good history there, but hopefully now Ancelotti stays for 3 years. Take a good team into the stadium that can be competing for trophies. That's the dream, anyway.
Is it on the same site?
There's a
So it's on Bramley Moor, so it would be on the waterfront.
Right.
But there is a community-led project happening at Goodison, so it won't just be sold off. So
don't do what West Ham did.
No.
Oh, dear.
Actually, you could say don't do what Arsenal did.
Oh yeah, turn it into flats. Yeah, but the ironic thing is, the club wanted to knock it all down, but once they realised East and West Hams were listed buildings, they sort of had to keep the structure, and they had to build around it basically. But don't do what we did either. Then in that case, fucking God forbid. No, because like you said, things like the pole down, this character, the sort of stadiums have that character. I don't know if you've ever been to the Emirates compared to Highbury. You don't have that character like you did at Highbury. And it's like, again, the other thing don't do what we did and go take yourself away from take the fans away from the pitch.
Yeah,
the
I don't think. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the West Ham one is, like you say, a really, really bad example of how not to do it, because it just wasn't purpose built for football. So,
that was obvious from day one.
Yeah, it's just so bad. But good things happening for Everton, but just the thing that for me is still a trophy. Really disappointing this year. We got to the quarterfinal of both competition, but just Man United edged it. Man City, you just can't really compete with them at the minute, and we'll have to go again next year.
Well, it's a bit tough at the moment, isn't it, for any other football team apart from Manchester City? They got the best players because of, even if they make a mistake in the market, it's irrelevant. They just buy someone else. They can keep doing that, and they've got the best coach, and and then they got some good people around there as well. So they're just gonna. When will it ever end? I mean, I remember when I was growing up. It was Liverpool with the team at some stage, and you thought, how on earth is any other team? Because it hadn't anything to do with money with Liverpool. It's just the way they did things. How can any other team ever win the title? Because what they used to do, win the title, then the best player in the division from another team they used to buy. Yeah. Stick him in the reserves for a couple of years, and when he's got the Liverpool in his mind, play him. And that went every year. And you thought something's going to happen. It can't carry on forever. And then, but things do change when you least expect them.
Yeah, I hope so, because obviously the changing of the rules of financial fair play, like they're scrapping that and basically allowing the big teams, PSGs, to just go, there you go, do what you want. Because that's
Ryan. Did it ever exist apart from on a bit of paper? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And all the loopholes it had, exactly. So this week they've just gone, okay, off you go then. So we're going to see. Realistically, you'd think the City are going to dominate. City and Chelsea will dominate England. PSG will just dominate France, like they always are. Germany will be Bayern Munich, and then Madrid and Real Madrid and Barca and Spain and this.
But they got no money.
Oh, this thing now, this thing will now allow them to go to the bank and do what they've been doing for the last 15 years, is go to the bank again and have no repercussions, because that's what's holding them back. That's what's holding the Spanish teams back, because especially Barcelona, when they were buying our Plebs and Fabregases, they were taking out loans. They weren't even out of their own money at the club. It's bank loans, and they owe them money. They still owe that money back.
Well,
but yeah.
Can I ask John a question? John, Newcastle's ground, right? It's 52,000, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. 52.
When was it made 52,000?
It was made back in 1999-2000 season. That's when Bobby Robson came in back in 1999. And the following season, they added another 15,000 on top on a new stand and a Melbourne stand
Right.
to the back end of the goal. So
you didn't actually have to flatten the ground and start again. You actually just had an add-on. Was good enough.
Build on
There's
top
enough
of it,
space
yeah.
around the ground to add on. Yeah.
I just built on top of the Melbourne
Oh,
stand.
right.
So I mean, that is, it used to be 36,000 capacity, but at the end of the day, I mean, what happened is there's just so many people wanted to go to games, so they upped it to 52,000, which I think is great. And the atmosphere is still fantastic. If someone goes in the club and gets it right, we could have had like Rafa Benitez if he came in was a cup or like even a Carabao Cup or FA Cup, then that place would have been absolutely rocking, and that and Rafa's name would have been up on folklore.
You are
I
a
think
bit
it's-
of a sleeping giant, really, aren't you?
We are. The fact is, though, we haven't won since what was it, 1969? We won the Fairs Cup. That's the year.
We won it the next season, John. We won it the next
And
season.
that.
I remember
Yes,
that.
you
You
did.
had-
You
was
did.
was it Bobby Moncur, your manager, your captain? Bobby Moncur,
No,
I think,
Bob
your
was
manager.
captain for the team, and Jim Harvey's the manager, I believe. I was born in '69, and
Yeah, Jim Harvey. That's it. Yeah,
Jim Harvey's
I remember those
manager.
days. Yeah.
Aye, and but I was quite young that time, so I still got found out about it because they beat this Hungarian club called Obgest.
Can I ask you? Did you ever see Malcolm McDonald play for Newcastle?
Never watched him live, but I watched him on TV,
Well,
and he.
I'm going to say no because of the atmosphere. It must have been a fantastic atmosphere when he got the ball and rushed towards the goal. They must have gone mad, the fans. That must have been great. I wish I would have seen him play for Newcastle up there.
He's class in mind, and I tell you something. With Malcolm McDonald, 5 seasons of us, and I tell you something. I mean, for me, he's got to be up there the best ever to put on a black and white shirt. And can you honestly see Joe Linton taking his place? I doubt it very much.
I doubt it as well.
And just touching on kind of speaking on to that Newcastle. I mean, John, we were saying before, literally how bizarre this season, not just this season, but the ownership under Mark Ashley has been since he's fully taken over at Newcastle, and what he did. I mentioned obviously what he's done at Rangers and how he fucked them over as well. Pardon my French, but it must be as I found it must be so frustrating for him to be doing what he's doing, and then all his little media friends digging you fans out for being passionate and wanting to more than or relegation, because a relegation club based up a yo-yo club, so to speak. Because for me, growing up in my early teens and just before that, Newcastle were a top 4 team. You were the team in a sort of a title race to a certain point, but you'd always get European football, and you sort of fell out. But you was already, again, you're still in the UEFA, you're still qualified for UEFA Cup, and then Mark Ashley takes over and sort of rips it all apart and just goes, boom, okay. And this could be, again, I think you've said in your channel, your third, if you were to go down, your third relegation in, 8 years, something like that?
No third relegation since 2007. There'll be 3 relegations in 14, under Mike Ashley. And for me, for a club that size, it's like getting AC Milan or Juve relegated 3 times in 14 years. Once in Italy is bad enough, but 3 times is quite unacceptable. But this owner, he just comes in, buys the club, right? Didn't check out on due diligence, right? Check their account stuff and level of debt. The club was in debt, right? I think it's £100 million in debt. I actually didn't see that.
Yeah.
He bought the club. Absolutely unbelievable, right?
That is unbelievable.
And then you got to think that's when the thing is something, Melvin. He thought he's going to buy the club, then he's going to make a killing. He wanted, once upon a time, when Keegan left the second time, he wanted £480 million for the club. And then we got relegated. He wanted 100 million for the club because of the level of debt. Yeah. But Mike Ashley now wants 340 million for the club. And we get relegated. He not see that money. There's absolutely no way. He's virtually washed his hands off the club. If he washed his hands off the club, he'd be better off just say, right, you know what? Just take what they want. If that means selling players for it and then sell the club cheaper, so be it. At the end of the day, this owner, right, I hate him. That's why he got Steve Bruce in as manager, because he's cheap. Right?
Yeah.
£1 million
It never made sense to me.
That makes no sense whatsoever. Melvin, you said off key earlier on, as a businessman, right?
Yeah.
He's a canny businessman for Sports Direct, but my God, he is an absolute clueless owner or clueless businessman when it comes to football. He hasn't got a clue. And
John, how many? Sorry, John. How many businessmen, and there's quite a few, have been absolutely fantastic businessmen and done all their money on football. So they don't understand. It's not like an ordinary business. They think they sit in the director's box, and they own it. Think this is it, and they think because they own it, they know it all. They don't. Some of them don't, and they they put people under them who are not any good either. And all of a sudden, all their money goes.
Yeah, and also
that's what
Mark Ashley,
happens sometimes.
how many times since he's taken over has he constantly fucked things up or tried to? He's done something that makes the fan base hate him even more. I mean, for example, St James's Park at one point he renamed it the Sports Direct Arena, and I mean, for example, when Dennis White brings Dennis Wise in as well and things like that. I mean, it was just absolutely bizarre. You'd think he would have learned from the Rangers situation, but he hasn't. And it's like I think a couple of people in the chat were asking about the theory about Newcastle. I think we did touch on it before. About obviously there's a theory going around. Again, it is a theory that he's got a gentleman's agreement with the consortium that sort of taken over back in last summer. That if they go down, get the deal done, he'll still get what he wants. They get the club. They then get promoted, this, that, and the other, and then come back in the Premier League and dominate the Premier League. But it's not that easy to do things like that because things could change. Because obviously, as you said, relegation happens. Suddenly the value will drop, and they'll just go, well, actually, no, we agreed it, but because you purposely got them relegated, you didn't even try to keep them up by sacking Bruce, or for example, we're going to actually take a cut out of that, and actually this is now the new offer and things like that, and it get messy there. It's actually interesting as well that the only time he's really invested in players in the squad was last summer when he thought the club was about to go into someone else's hands.
Well, that's crazy, man, because we needed to replace San Rondon as well, and we got him for £16 million, but now he got Joe Linton for £14 million instead, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, man. I mean, Rose is shaking our heat, and I totally agree. But we needed a left back, got that right. We've got Jeff Hendrick on a free transfer. For me, I think it's completely utter waste of space. What does he offer? I just do not know, but he is absolutely awful, right? Callum Wilson, best of the bunch. Ryan Fraser, for me, came on the free. He didn't really want to come to Newcastle United because he wanted to go to Spurs or Arsenal or even Liverpool, but didn't come for him. But he came to us as last result. He does not want to be at Newcastle, but his performances this season has been absolutely shocking. Yeah, he came to us with an injury, right? The way he does play, his heart is just not in it at all whatsoever. That's Ryan Fraser. But Matt Longstaff, right? Matt Longstaff, the one who scored against Man U in his very first game, right? He's unheard of now because Steve has picked him for a couple of games and then he decides to drop him again. Apparently, there's been training bus stops as well between Richie, the two Longstaffs, Lascelles, ASM, Darlow, when Darlow got dropped by the press, by the press, Steve was never told anything about it. Yeah, like I said, a bus stop with Matt Ritchie, and apparently a couple of players has gone to Lee Charnley, the CEO, and said, "Look, I want this manager sacked now. I'm not going to play for him." And what's Steve's reward? He gets a vote of confidence, right? That's a base of loyalty, right? So basically, right, is because he does have go at Ashley. That's why Ashley's repaid him, right? And then it goes and kick us fans in the teeth, right? So we talk of loyalty. What about our fans? We pay our tickets, right? We go to games, right? We show loyalty, back to the club, right? But Mike Ashley, in return, doesn't give a flying toss of our fans at all whatsoever.
No,
that's why
Newcastle fans are the most loyal fans in the United Kingdom, probably in Europe, because no other fan base when a team gets relegated or in a relegation battle would fit out a stadium of that any capacity to the level you guys do week in, week out. And like you said, there's no, you don't get any reward back from that from Mike Ashley at all. Again, as a neutral, it's frustrating. So, but for you guys, it must be even worse.
I said to you, John, I said to you after your Brighton game, do you remember I messaged you?
Yeah,
I
you
said,
did.
I said, I've just seen how all the Newcastle players have down tools for the manager. It was so obvious. It was disgraceful, actually.
Yeah, I had that
Absolutely
game.
disgraceful.
I literally had that game on. It was disgraceful to watch, but it was so painful as well. Because, as you said, you could see the players were just like whatever.
Not bothered.
I mean, he got that vote of confidence going the day after that game, after getting battered 3-0 against a team, a fellow relegation threatened team. He got the vote of confidence the next day.
I think I had about 40 people watching the game live on that week, that Brighton game. Me and Paul from Team Review actually watched it with us. Yeah, I had people come up to us on Twitter and see that Velvet just said there, the players have down tools. It's been made clear now that the players do not want to play for Steve Bruce. Yet Mike Ashley doesn't give a toss again. This is why and now Ashley's having to go at players and say they got to step up. Yeah. They will step up when Steve Bruce gets the sack.
It's gone.
It is until it's gone. But to me, Mike Ashley doesn't give a flying toss to the people's opinion. The fans.
You know something, John? It's not up to the manager. Sorry, it's not up to the a chairman or an owner to tell the players to step up. If the manager can't do it, then the manager's not doing his job in the first place. No way should directors get directly involved with the players. It just doesn't work.
It doesn't work at all. That tells me everything that the club is in an absolute mess. And let me tell you something, right? If we're at the bottom three, we're staying in the bottom three because Fulham's going to stay up. You look at the games got left now. That's
your last game. That is literally your last game. That could be the game that sends you down.
But you look at it before we got to play Spurs on Sunday. We got Burnley away.
Please be.
Then we got to play West Ham United at home. Then after West Ham, you got to play away to Liverpool. Then after that, we got you lot at home.
Okay.
You haven't heard
There's nice
anything
knowing you,
yet.
John.
Man, you come as well, baby.
Oh dear.
We're done.
Fucking hell.
But
he's even having Steve Bruce himself. He's even having fallen out of his own staff members to the point that they called him out, and in the next game they're not even on the bench. They're like out of sight, basically. I mean, it's absolutely bizarre. No, this is again, like I say, meant to be a businessman. If he wants to get what he wants, he needs to use his fucking brain. I know he probably doesn't have one, but he needs to use it in quick because he ain't gonna. If you go down for a third time, that 300 million, whatever he wants, he won't even get 100 million because it's 3, as you said, 3 and 8 years. You'll then get that. Newcastle as a club will then get that tug like West Brom had for a bit. The yo-yo cup, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah. Do you know what it is, right? I mean, you just said that we get relegated. Not only he's not going to get the money that he wants, right? You got Derby County's worth £60 million. What about their club? Yeah, but we'll not be getting back up for many, many years to come. We're going to end up with Sunderland, a Leeds, a Forest, a Portsmouth, right? Very struggle to get back up straight away. Newcastle, and if they keep on Steve Bruce, right, I'll just keep on doing a live watch-alongs on here. I'll not be going back until this manager goes because I don't want to be wasting my time. As much as I love Newcastle, I do not want to waste my time going up to St James's Park from Bristol to watch this kind of football. It's a complete for me. I think you could ask any Newcastle fans, they had enough of it, yeah. And I think now, some of the Newcastle fans now, my advice to them, right, if you want to go to the games, you carry on going to the games, but you're backing these lot. I'm telling you, yeah. I would go to watch my Newcastle, right? The Newcastle I love. This ain't the Newcastle's today, honestly, because our club is just gonna sinking lower all the time. You know what I mean? But getting relegated 3 times in 14 years under Mike Ashley, he just does not seem to care about the football club. He doesn't care. If he doesn't care, and the players don't want to do it, why should the fans care?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason he came up last time, to be honest, is Rafa Benitez was there, and his managerial tactical nous got them players over the line in the end. But also, what did it make most sense for me because I was out that day and I got text come through from Sky Sports notification. It was like that doesn't make sense because even though he's meant to be a Geordie lad himself, he'd managed your fucking rivals. They're not down the road.
Yeah.
They saved them how many times? And plenty to these to them.
Yeah, the difference is though, Sunderland sacked him because Sunderland's going to get relegated if they didn't sack him. Now, look at who's managed. You talk about loyalty, right? Let's be real about it. Yeah, he's managed both Sheffield clubs. He walked out of London. Then he goes to manage Wigan. Walks out of Wigan, right? Not once but twice. Yeah, walks out of Birmingham. Yeah, he gets sacked to Villa, and he gets sacked to Huddersfield. Yeah, and then he walked away from Hull. He got them up. Yeah, talking of loyalty. This manager is an absolute fraud, right? And the reason he ain't sacked because there's 4 million reasons why actually it's not sacked him because he does not want to pay him £4 million to get rid. Steve Bruce is doing his best to get the sack. Actually, sussed him out and say, you know what? I'm not going to pay for that. I'm going to keep him on to the end of the season. If not, if he even get relegated, I'm going to keep him on as well. And if he keeps Bruce on, we must just go into League One because that's where we're heading.
John, didn't he also have a bit of a problem with Crystal Palace, Steve Bruce, with his contract? Wasn't there a court case or something? The manager, who's the manager of the owner of Palace? It used to be Jordan.
Jordan,
yeah.
Yeah, I think there was I've read his book, Jordan. It's a brilliant book. Fabulous book. And in that, I think he mentioned that Steve Bruce was a lot of aggravation when he was the manager at Crystal Palace. It nearly, I don't know if it did, but it might have nearly went to court. It was so nasty.
Yeah, I think they settled, in the end it went for out of court settlement. I think in the end.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
but yeah, it's absolutely bizarre. Is it what's annoying me? And again, as a neutral, I don't know if Rose or Melvin will agree. Is like the likes of Rio Ferdinand, and Joe Cole getting stuck in, and they're giving their 2 pence when they've got nothing. They've got no association with Newcastle. Also, Rio Ferdinand has an association with Mark Ashley.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is about Ferdinand and Joe Cole? Joe Cole. I don't know if you listen to it. He goes that if any clubs near the bottoms wants to get a manager and that's in trouble, Steve Bruce would be top of that list. I don't know what Joe Cole is on about. I don't know what Joe Cole come out and say that for. He needs to keep his mouth shut because at the end of the day, he does not know our situation at all whatsoever. He really doesn't.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing, right? All these pundits, come out and defending this fraud of a manager. Saying that, he's a wonderful manager, he's done a wonderful job. How about look at the research, look at a form guide, 2 wins from 20 games, right? Let's be honest about it. 2 wins from 20 games, 4 draws, 14 defeats. Now, all these pundits are coming out now, out of the woodwork, saying that, Steve Bruce deserved to be sacked and that sort of thing. I tell them to get stuff because now they're coming out and actually listened too late. They should have said this months ago, right? And just winds us up. All these pundits want to wind up Newcastle fans, right? Saying that how wonderful Steve Bruce is doing a good job, blah, 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 with the players that he's got. Yeah? Steve Bruce has not done a good job, right? Steve Bruce is going to get us relegated. Steve Bruce is an absolute joke of a club. He does not want to be at Newcastle. He does not look well, right? He looks stressed on the touchline, yeah? Graham Jones is trying to help him out, right? And just say, look, this is what we do, blah, blah, blah. But Steve Bruce has basically told him to F off, basically. Do you know what I mean? And I think Bruce actually swore at Graham Jones. I think it might have been, I think it's definitely a home game. I think it might have been against Wolves, by the way. He told Graham Jones to F off. Yeah,
that Wolves game, yeah.
Look at Cheller's comments. Newcastle's policy is to spend the minimum amount to stay up. If relegated, spend what you need to obtain promotion. The thing is, right, you're going to need to spend 40, 50 million pounds to get that back up again, at least. Because spending bare minimum now ain't going to be enough money to get back up. I don't think Ashley's going to spend a penny in the championship. He's going to sell all the best players, all the players out of contract, right? And Elliot Anderson, the young lad, who's just started on England under 19, right? He might want away as well. Our club is absolutely screwed. And if it does get started, we're going to end up in League One.
I thought the warning signs were sort of there as well, because the first time you went down in 2009, I think it was 2009, you went down the last day of the season. The warning signs are there because days later, Alan Shearer said we'd had a meeting. I told him what was needed for him as if he would stay on to get us back straight away promoted, just that and the other, and do it comfortably. Mike Ashley just told him where to stick it, and that's why he left.
Ryan, he didn't tell him where to stick it. Mike Ashley, my understanding, told Shearer, we'll get back to you, right? And Alan
Effectively
Shearer, I can
covered.
tell you now, in this room, he never had a phone call.
No.
Not even a ding-dong.
And that should be the warning sign.
No
back then.
respect for a great club player like that.
No, and, literally, and then since then he's then gone and took the what was it, the Alan Shearer's bar, that the bar that's named after him on the ground.
Yeah.
Took that away.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
the 9 bar, the 9 bar now. So his name's no longer associated with
Is that right? I
stadium.
didn't know that.
Yeah, in the last few years he's
my
done that. Yeah,
God. How
Because-
petty is that?
because literally, and Alan Shearer on Match of the Day and other stuff he does as well for other companies calls Mark Ashley out on his shit. He doesn't hold back because he loves Newcastle, because he's a Geordie man himself. He doesn't like to see Newcastle in this situation, and he
You know
can't say
what?
Mark Ashley either. So
You know what it is, right? I mean, anyone slags off Mark Ashley, right? In the press, you get banned, right? There's a journalist called Craig Hope, right? Did a story, right? When Spruce had a bus stop with Matt Ritchie. They wanted to keep that one quiet, right? They wanted to keep it really quiet. Craig Hope brought that story, right? Someone must have told him to do the story, and he did that, okay? And then Craig Hope, actually, I think he asked the question, Steve Bruce. Now, if you listen to Steve Bruce's interviews, right, in the press, he cuts in the interviewer's questions. He doesn't allow the interviewer to finish their questions off, yeah? And Steve Bruce gets a bit irate when the questions get tough, yeah? Steve Bruce has banned Craig Hope, right, from answering the questions in the press conference. Kind of banned him, you know what I mean? But they ain't going to stop Craig Hope for the Daily Mirror. If he sees what's going wrong, he come out and say so. He chased Steve McClaren out of tune a couple of years ago. And I hope he chases Steve Bruce out of tune again. Do you know what I mean? Not just him, but I hope the press really, really stick it to him on Friday. And I'll be doing press conference reaction as well on my channel on a Friday. So please check us out for that.
yeah, I definitely will as well, because it's like I said, I've also had a as a neutral soft spot for Newcastle, because they are that one team for that one area. And all the fans, as I said, the most loyal fans in the country, because no matter what, that place is obviously apart from obviously now because you can't. But given the opportunity, that place is packed, and you guys give everything. You bleed for that club, basically. But it's not.
We look
the loyalty for that for you guys isn't rewarded by this guy, and it's a shame, because again, like I said, you don't deserve to be where you are.
For away supporters, there's a couple of clubs. Obviously, you're going to get Spurs and Man United supporters at the Highbury or the Emirates that are very, make a lot of noise, right? Because Spurs will say our rivals, they're around the corner, so you're going to get loads of those. Man United all live in London anyway, so you're going to get loads of those, right? A lot of them do live in London, right? And they have got a good away following United. I've got to give them that anyway from up.
Yeah.
But the two other clubs, in my opinion, when they used to, when the crowds were allowed, and I think, bloody hell, what a great support, was Newcastle and Leeds United. Those two clubs, when we played them, they really, bloody hell, they got the stadium rocking, whatever the game was like. They really did.
Yeah,
Really,
I remember.
really did.
Yeah, what was it? I think it was Benitez's last season. That season we were about to leave. Coming to the end of the season, we played them at the Emirates. And again, like you said, their fans, even though their players were on the beach, their fans were literally even before the whistle even gone for the first half, were going at it. They went for the whole thing. And then again, that shows the commitment of Newcastle fans as well, because that was a midweek game as well.
Long track, wasn't it?
Tuesday night. That's a long journey back from London up to Newcastle. Trust me. Oh dear. But yeah, it does do my head when I see these things, because obviously I'm used to seeing Newcastle, and especially there was a time when Sir Bobby Robson was in charge, God rest his soul. He brought in Alan Shearer into Newcastle. He built a fucking fantastic team. And they sort of won something with that team, but it just, I don't know what happened. They just didn't get over the line in the end. They was it Alan Shearer, Shay Givens, Jermaine Jenas has come in, was brought in from Nottingham Forest, I believe. Lee Bowyer, Laurent Robert, Olivier Bernard. There was a good call. They all brought David Ginola as well.
He was.
Ginola.
And he played for Everton as well, didn't he?
Robert as well.
Yeah. And you look at the players that they're bringing in now compared to then. That don't make this current, because of the owner, because of what his mindset is of spend cheap and cheerful basically, and spend as less as possible. These players don't even come nowhere near the mark. Let's be honest.
I think what you find with clubs like us as well, we've been cheap over the years on certain players, haven't we? We've missed out on players that we should have got because we're trying to penny pinch. And then next minute you're spending 50 grand on a lot of rubbish. And that's the same with when you bought your forward, John. What's his name?
Joel Linton.
Yeah. You just splash the cash there. Well, hold on a minute. We've been holding back all that money so we can buy this player? Because it's happened with Arsenal as well. Drives you mad.
Well, remember Shamak, Melvin?
Oh yeah.
Oh dear, that's how things.
Right.
Yeah, go on. Oh,
sorry guys, I'm going to have to head off now. But thank you for having me on the channel again.
Nice to meet you.
No problem. Hopefully, get you on at the end of the season when things are all sorted and you know what's happening and you've got European football on. I think you will. I think European football's pretty much rounded up. It looks like you're finished above that lot as your nearest rivals as well. The way they're going, because they can't. What's doing them over is their home form. They can't win at home. They were at home this weekend. Coming, we'd probably beat them as well. So that do you a favour. But it's at the end. Fingers crossed. But yeah, who have you got this weekend anyway?
We've got Palace or Brighton. I think Palace first. Yeah. Ooh. 2 winnable games. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, good luck for the rest of the season. We'll see you at the end of the season.
Bye.
Bye.
Good luck, Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, Melvin, do we move on to Arsenal now? Do we even try?
Do we have to? You know what? I was listening to the Tuesday Club today. Had to do a bit of a walk, an old one, and it was just after we played Burnley away. And Alan Davis.
Shane Chat's asking Melvin. We were at the game.
I wish I
magical goal.
Alan Davis was talking about Xhaka. He was going into one, slaughtering him. I don't want to. I thought that, and he said, "Oh, I can't believe it. Just how can he score a goal like that? Let alone go blah blah blah." I thought you've been talking about it for the last few months. I've been saying it for years. I thought,
since he for the door.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first game. What is this guy? And he did it in such a good way. In such a good way, he did it. It was absolutely brilliant because what he said was so true. The liability of it all. And I think that really the thing. Listen, I love Arsenal. I'll always watch them. But you get to a point where you think, if I've got to watch that player every week, is it actually worth it? Because he winds me up. When you get so wound up about certain things.
Yeah.
Thinking, the ball's coming to win. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? And it's not enjoyable. So hopefully the game passes him by, so he doesn't touch it much, and it all goes to all the other players, and he's just like on the peripheral. But if he's involved in the game, and we need to attack, he just can't do it. It's frightening. But I think, like you say, I agree that the next transfer window, he's got no excuses after that. Arteta, it's his squad. You can't say that. You can't say any excuses that I haven't got the players I want.
Yeah, thank you, Rose. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Rose is in the chat. Yep. But yeah, I mean,
it's squad, isn't it? After the next week,
well, it is because you think about it. I mean, I'm trying to think of actual Wenger players left at the club. I mean, it says Granit's still at the club. Kolasinac could be. I mean, he's out on loan at the moment, but he could come back. But it's clear that Arteta doesn't want him there anymore.
Has he got more money? Has he got more time in his contract? Then I thought he might have run out for now. His contract. I initially thought he was running. I thought his contract was up at the end of the season, but then people say he's got one more year left and things like. But I do believe his contract's up. But I'm hoping that's the case because that lessens what I'm going to say. But I'm trying to think. Xhaka, Holding was a Wenger player. Chambers, Bellerin. Yeah,
that's what 4. But it's not as many as what Wemby inherited at the time and what he did initially inherit as well. He's got rid of most of them players. Just to bring John back into the stream as well.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
right.
And also, there's a as I said before, there's a few of the Emmy players that look to be at their days are numbered. Gunduzi, doesn't no matter what he does, he always seems to fuck it up. Even in Germany, his attitude. It's just, because obviously the whole point of him getting him out and see if he was mature as a person, not just as a player. Apparently, his attitude is getting even worse week by week over in Berlin in the Bundesliga. So it looks like his days are going to be numbered at Arsenal. He's going to be sold on for a bit of a fee. Well, anything we get from him is to be profit really compared to what we paid for him. What was it, £8 million or something less than that? Torreira doesn't British weather over like the weather over here, so he doesn't want. He wants to go to somewhere where it's hot and sunny and this, that, and the other. So either go back to Serbia or whatever.
Probably suits the actual football they play over there.
Socrates has gone as well. Just window just gone. The only one that's an Unai player or players is Pepe and Leno now. Or Tierney, but Tierney's the one we don't want to sell. No one wants to sell. Everyone wants to, because he's Tierney. But so most of his squad now are players that he's either brought in or is bringing through the system at the youth level. The likes of more so now Smith Rowe, because Smith Rowe was a bit involved in the Wenger/Emmy era, but he wasn't like big part like he is now. It was a little game here and there, get him a bit of this and send him out on loan. Whereas now he's more involved. Saka more involved. Saka's arguably the player juggling us through this season. There's a thing I put up the other day, the last stream I did, last podcast, where and in the game they put stats up of all the Premier League teenagers of his playing now, their stats. He's number one in every single attacking stat on that side. And from Arsenal's perspective, and all our players, apart from the first two, where he's second or third, he's number one in everything, all the other stats.
I'm surprised I'll tell you where he could improve, and there's always room for improvement on most players.
Yeah. But because he's of a young age, because he's not like Iwobi was, because what we've seen of Iwobi now, he's still got that issue of Iwobi, he's a final product. Because of Saka, for me, I do have faith in him because he has developed in the last 12 to 18 months, he has developed as a player and got better. And when you hear what Lundberg had to say about Saka as well after the North London derby on Sky, you have more faith that he is learning. He does want to learn. He wants to eradicate that sort of thing and get better in that position, and evolve his game into the fact where he can be scoring goals and assisting goals week in, week out because of his attitude. Because he goes to the manager and he'll ask, "How can I improve? What can I do? Let's watch this video back with me, Gaffer. Like, this is where I'm going wrong. Can you advise me what way do I improve? What's the best way? This, that, and the other." He asks the questions. He's not afraid to approach whoever's in charge or coach-wise. So with Saka, I don't have that issue of no, he's going to be one of them that never get better. He gets to there's a brick wall with certain players, and their end product is that issue. With Saka, by the sounds of it, I don't think that'll be an issue with Saka. Hopefully, touch wood.
No, they can't he'll improve that. What is quite exciting for Arsenal at the moment is the youngsters that haven't yet got into the team.
We've got so many of them, so many quality youngsters. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
Mark, for example, Mark McGuinness, who's at Ipswich.
Yeah, because it's a big, strong lad, isn't he?
Big, strong centre back.
What about Aziz? You see that goal he got the other day?
Miguel Aziz as well. I mean, for
that
the under 21,
was quality, absolute quality. And I also was it Mark or Martin? I can't remember his name now, but I saw a cameo of him the other day, and he's on loan, and his balls through the middle, his vision of passing.
From Charlton. I know that Charlton. Smith.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Smith. Yeah.
Is it Matt Smith? Is it
Matt Smith? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, he was doing silly things. And I'm thinking these guys are not far away. You know, we don't have to spend 50 on this guy and whatever on that guy. And if we can just keep this squad. Get rid of, again, there's a lot of deadwood still, in my opinion. Get some more deadwood at the end of the season that we've got and slowly bring these boys through. I think we'll be fine. No, I'm not saying we're going to win millions of things, but just to improve the club, get us to another level. At the level at the moment, we're a mid-table team.
Yeah,
I want to
And
get us
as
to a level where
yeah.
we're not a mid-table
so
team.
yeah, and
Love
going
that.
the right, and going that right direction. It
Yeah.
does. And again, for all the criticism we have sort of thrown at Arteta tactically in his tactical side of things this season, which he has made mistakes. There's no getting around it. The players have let him down as well. There's a combination of the both. But what he does off the pitch in terms of the ins and outs of the club and who stays, who goes, the ruthlessness he showed in the winter window just gone, we were getting rid of Kolasinac, Socrates, Mesut Ozil, for example, them players, Mustafi as well, getting rid of them, just going, okay, you don't want to go of your own free will, we're going to force you out. Here's the money, piss off.
You need a new team, don't you? Need to rebuild in the summer in the minutes. I mean,
yeah.
Look, if you got some good players out of the Arsenal at the moment, you know. I mean, I think you do with getting rid of Hector Hecky B as well. If I'm honest,
don't please. Can you take him?
I tell you, we've got the worst right back in the country in Emil Kraft, and he's even worse. You know what I mean? But I tell you what, I'd rather take Hecky B than Emil Kraft. Do you know what I mean? But you know, you got some canny players there. I mean, and then he's getting better though. I'm surprised.
He's a good squad player. That's yeah. That's the one thing since he's come back from he's known.
Yeah.
As a squad player, he does do the dirty work. He isn't afraid to be that squad player. He doesn't complain. He just gets on with it. Does the simple things. He likes to push forward a bit as well. He has, whereas before when Wenger was in, then it was like a bit of a sideward sort of play. Just get the ball.
Yeah.
But now he's come back. He's sort of sharpened up, got back to what he was before he came to Arsenal. And he gets the ball. He wants to be that bit aggressive, but he understands he's not going to be a first teamer. But as a squad player, he'll do it. He'll do a job.
I think he's a player.
He's decent. Well, how's Willock been doing?
The first game, I mean, I thought he was an 8 out of 10. I thought he was absolutely fantastic.
Scored a good goal first game.
He did.
2 minutes. Like 2 minutes in as well.
Ramsey-esque. Well, that is like I like watching Ramsey-esque. But other than that, I mean, I just think he's being best of both in Newcastle. I mean, I've not seen the best out of Joe Willock. I mean, listen, I'm not going to cuss because I do like Joe Willock, but Steve Bruce, it's messing him about. You know, for me, I mean, where do you think he's best player? Do you think he's a number 10? Do you think he's better in the holding role in a 4-2-3-1? Where would you play? Where would you fit him in?
Where would I fit him in? That's a very good question. That is a very good question.
I
would actually think he's probably a bit like El Neni, but more forward thinking.
So if that's the case, then he has to play in the holding role then. And if that is true, I'll drop Johnson Shelby. I play Willock and Matty Longstaff in the holding role. Yeah, because like you said, Willock is a forward-thinking midfielder. Matty Longstaff can win tackles in midfield all day long and allows Willock to make those runs. You know, Ramsey-esque. You know what I mean? What?
Ramsey-esque.
Ramsey. I like him. Ramsey-esque. But then again, Steve Bruce is just not playing in his best position. You know what I mean? He's not. To me, Steve Bruce is defensive manager. He's not allowing Joe Willock to make those advanced runs. You know what I mean? And it's so frustrating because I want to see Joe Willock express himself and decent young player. But apparently, Saka misses him as well because I think Saka.
They're like best mates,
yeah. So
I didn't know that. Is that right? Yeah, all right.
Because they both come through at the Hell End, haven't they? Hell End Academy.
Of course, yes.
At the same time as well. It's not like there's been like a 2-year like with Reece Nelson, he came through on his own. Whereas of the others that are coming through, Smith Rowe, Saka's, Matt Smith's out on loan, they're all coming through at the same time. So that connection they have from under when Nürnberg was there and this, that, and the other. But I mean, I think what's not helping Willock probably is the fact of what's going on at Newcastle we touched on before, that the players are sort of like, well, are we really bothered? We don't want him. We don't want the manager here. So they're not giving their all. Which in turn doesn't help the likes of Willock because he can't show what he can give to not just his cells but going forward for his country and things like that.
That's the thing. That is the thing. He's another one who just don't really want to play for Boost at all, and that's a shame because you got to allow him to play. You got to give him the chance to express himself.
Yeah.
But Bruce is not expressing anyone. And Graham Jones, his assistant coach, right? If he took over, he'll bring the best out of Willock as well. I'm sure he will, and he'll play an attacking 4-2-3-1, and that's what he want to do. But again, our club is going nowhere as long as Steve Bruce is manager at Newcastle. For me, he's a waste of time. I wanted them out before he went in. That is how much I wanted. I wanted him out before he even went in. Steve Bruce, for me, when he was mentioned as manager, my heart sank. I thought, please don't. And he was told by Alan Shearer, don't take the job. Do not take it. Because if you're a Newcastle fan, he's not a Newcastle, he's a Man U fan, by the way. Manchester United fan. I don't got anyone to say, right? But Steve Bruce spoke to Shearer. I'd asked him, should I do the Newcastle job? Shearer said no. Shearer advised him not to take it. And John Gibson from the Chronicle as well, up in Newcastle, he also told him not to take it. Yeah. But what did Steve Bruce do? He goes there and he takes the job. And now he's found out that job is eating him up. The job's too big for him. And Steve Bruce should walk away now. Forget the £4 million, right? Forget that. Think of your family. Think of your wife. Think of your own health. Yeah. You do need it. But I tell you something now. He's lucky there's no fans in the stadium. Because if there was, Steve Bruce would not be there today.
Well, also, just going back to Steve Bruce, it's not like the first time. It ain't something that's just happened overnight with Steve Bruce and his like tactical nous being found out. This is going back to his Birmingham City days in the early 2000s when they got relegated and things like that. He has one way of playing, setting the team up, and once it's found out by everyone, that's it. His teams get relegated. He wasn't even deemed good enough to get promoted. He was sacked, and the guy that replaced him was coming from Brentford.
I think you just mentioned the manager from Brentford, Thomas Frank. If it's him, then believe you me, I think he'll be absolutely decent for Newcastle, no doubt about it. But he will a project. They'll not be interviewing him. He'll be interviewing them and ask them the questions. Where do you want this club to be? Where do you want? Figure the 52,000. Thomas Frank, we know a lot of things in that man. He's an intelligent, decent lad. No doubt. Yeah. Oh, and he will ask him, right? Where do you want this club to be? Where do you want us to take us? And if their answer, just to stay in the Premier League, finish 17th every season, Thomas Frank is not your manager. Thomas Frank wrote aim high. What the guy's 48, right? He wants to manage in the Premier League, right? Whether that's a Brentford or whether it be another club, right? He will want to own a club and he wants to go for European football. Do you know what I mean? Because the guy's ambitious, yeah. Mike Ashley isn't ambitious. He'd be quite happy finishing the 17th trophy. That's all it is. That's it. For him, it's job done. I don't want 17. I've got an elite mindset. You guys got an elite mindset as well. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather have a go and try and aim for European football because Newcastle deserves European football. But unfortunately, Mike Ashley does not want European football. When Alan Pardew got us into 5th place back in 2011-12 season, Mike Ashley apparently told Pardew to play the weakest team in Europe. Now, if I was Pardew, I would have just said, okay, if that's your attitude, I'm gone.
Yeah. I mean, just sort of a reference to Arsenal. I mean, when Wenger left, we interviewed Allegri apparently, and what you said about Thomas Frank saying he'd asked the question, he'd be interviewing the board. Allegri did that. He went to them and said, "All right, you want me? Convince me I'm the man for the job. Sell me the project that you." And they thought he was too arrogant, and that's why they didn't go for it. It was like, and it's time the interviewing process at the time. The people in charge of it was Ivan Gazidis again. Always go back to him. As I said earlier, always go back to Ivan Gazidis, Don Raoul, and Vinay.
Yeah,
and the man that had the casting vote was Ivan Gazidis, and look how that panned out.
Wow! What they want a puppet. All they want these.
Is that with the England? Is that with the England job? The FA since Spengo and Ericsson, the only time they ventured out of a non-English manager was Fabio Capello. And because of how Capello wasn't a yes man, and all the others they've hired before and since have been, that's what they want. Hence why Southgate is in an England job, because they want the yes man. They want that man to go, have that mindset of knowing he doesn't really deserve to be England manager, but be of the mindset as well of he appreciates it. He'll bend over backwards for them. He'll kiss their ass, basically. He won't not step up and question their authority.
It's ridiculous, man. You get the best manager. You want that manager, you've got to let the manager manage. Simple as that. Can you imagine if Brian Clough came in, was alive today? I'll tell you something now, right? He'll be doing interviews. Like Melvin will probably be. He'll be interviewing them. They wouldn't even ask him the question, you know? They said, you want us? Let us manage, yeah? Because Brian Clough, going head coach, it's like having apple crumble with tomato sauce. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? It won't work.
Oh, dear.
Or, I don't think it's simple, guys. It's like having the strawberries at the cream. The chemistry's got to be there. Brian Clough ought to be the one. I'm the number one. It's like Fergie, you know?
Everything goes through me, yeah.
Yeah? There's none of them. There's none left.
No.
You only want football men at your club making football decisions. You don't want any other type of people at your club making football decisions. People that might be good at certain things, at raising money or doing buying and selling property for the club. Let them get on with it. But do not let people like that make football decisions, because you'll come across.
Guys, slightly move back forward to the Arsenal situation, Melvin. I mean, we've touched on Newcastle's ownership, but our ownership is no better, really. I mean, they're meant to be businessmen, as like you said as well. Just because he owns a few franchises out in the States, the Denver Nuggets, an ice hockey team, now the LA Rams, what was St. Louis Rams when he took over them and things like that. Just because he runs them sort of things, them franchises, doesn't automatically mean he knows what he's doing over here. Because soccer over there isn't held in the right account of the account of what it is held over here. And when we fell out, that day we fell out of the Champions League, we finished that point behind Liverpool in the 16-17 season, wasn't it? And it was just a couple of days before, and it had been rumoured that Usmanov had made an offer to Stan about buying his shares, so Usmanov would be the actual owner instead. And he turned it down. The reason, and I said there and then after the game, even before, and I was saying he will never sell at the time. And if you've added more meat to the bone yourself on your side of it, Melvin, but he won't sell because we're a Premier League club. We're in London. We're a London-based club in the Premier League, and it's a brand of Arsenal what Wenger built and the previous board had built up over the last how many years in the Hill Woods and all that, what they'd done throughout the generations. And then you've added more meat to the bone yourself, and you said about the streaming services and all that. Everything will eventually go over to that, and that's what he's waiting for. But yeah, we are the pot of gold. This, because we're a Premier League club, and this and all what you've said, it's stupid. It'd be stupid of him to sell, because we are the big money pot that helps finance everything he has over in the States. All the franchises he has, all that money. He takes out the club from Arsenal. Because you don't put money into the club, he takes it out and takes it over there. I remember that season.
It's a private club now. He doesn't have to show his books to any of the supporters.
No,
we've got no right to see it. He can do what he likes. For all we know, it could be 90% of our club is owned elsewhere through loans. We don't know. It's just ridiculous the way it's going.
Yeah, I mean, it does my kind of head in. And again, when we're going through the stage of Wenger, a good few years, about 4 or 5 years before he would go on to move on, we weren't competing. We were literally just getting like forced. We weren't even getting there. This was before we had that. We ended that 9-year spell of no trophy whatsoever. my mindset is I don't own any businesses, but my mindset is if you want to make something successful and earn and make more money out of your business, i.e. a football club in this situation, you want them to compete, you want them to win things, you want them to win the league titles, Champions Leagues at the time, FA Cup, League Cups, you want them competing at the highest level as much as possible.
Correct.
He never showed any ambition even then. And as you said, everything's private now, so he doesn't have to show us anything. The reason he wants to go private because he never liked it when it was public. The AGMs, the seasonal AGMs, he hated because he'd go there, sit in silence, wouldn't say a word to the fans, wouldn't communicate. A fan direct to ask him a question, direct to him, he'd look to someone beside him and nudge them and tell them to say something, or he'd tell them to sit back down and move on. He had no respect. But sadly, I don't see a way out at the moment unless the worst of the worst things happen in this project that he's got in place at the moment with Arteta and Edu falls apart, and the fans fully then turn on him literally and do boycotting to the highest level at the club.
The trouble is
that won't happen. He won't say that.
I think you're right. That won't happen. I think that really, I don't think the fans make any difference to him at all. It's the bottom line with him. If, for example, he's under personal pressure with his wife, who's worth a lot of money as well, if they got to find money and they think they've spread themselves too thinly around the world, that might be a reason for him setting up. If, for example, the Arsenal, which has got a fabulous name around the world over the years, if that's suddenly the brand, if you like, becomes not a brand, it becomes like another team, that lower division, then all of a sudden, what's the point of owning Arsenal? Because it's no longer the brand that's built up over so many years. So that might be another reason. I think it gets to a point where if someone came to him and offered him double what he paid for the club now, unless he needs to sell, he won't. If they give him 2 or 3 times, 4 times, if he doesn't have to sell, he says, what do I need to sell for? You know, and also what he probably thinks as well, if someone bids 3 times what Arsenal's current market position you might think, he could then go to the bank and go, look, I can sell it for this, lend me some more money because it's worth a lot more now. So it's not really,
it's an end of cycle.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
I think also, in that season we referred to this, I think it's the 15, 16 or 16, 17 season. It came out about winter time, about November time, that he took out £300 million out of the club.
Yeah.
And took it over to the States to build his ranch in the States.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was nothing in place for him to put that money back into the club.
He didn't have to do that either. I mean, he spends his money as he likes because he owns a club, but his wife is worth so much money, he didn't have to actually put Arsenal at risk. That's the thing.
I've said it recently as well. I think everything he does in the States, like the LA Rams Stadium and all the loans he takes out for building that or whatever, if we're not funding it, he's taking loans out from banks over there and putting our name on the collateral.
Exactly. We don't know, do we? Exactly. We don't know. You know, John's in a better position in one respect. Your guy's going to sell. You know that, John.
Yeah, he wants out. He doesn't.
Whatever. He's going to go, right? Yeah, he ain't going to be there in 3 years' time, is he, or 2 years' time? You know that, right? We're not in that situation. That's the worry for us.
That's the thing, because the fact is, he wants a lot of money to sell the club, a lot of money. And in this pandemic, I just don't think they're going to buy it anywhere, if I'm honest. But I just kind of see Kroenke selling your club, to be honest with you. I think he's using that as a toy for him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is, all he cares about, right? I mean, if my memory serves so sweet, LA Rams. He cares about the Rams, right?
Yeah, loves the Rams.
Doing well, right? Then he doesn't care about the Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? But it's like Ashley, he loves the Sports Direct, but at the end of the day, he doesn't care about our club. I mean, we're at the bottom, we're the lowest of his priorities at the minute. And Ashley care about that football club, he would have sat loose. But unfortunately, he doesn't care what happened to our football club. And I said it earlier on, he doesn't care about the club, the city, the fans. And talk about loyalty, right? He's not showing any loyalty to the fans. He's not listening to our fans. But now, Newcastle has lost 10,000 season tickets. right? That was back in January last year. And Lee Charlie asked Bruce, what can we do about it? How are we going to get those 10,000 people back? So what they've decided to do, they decided to give 10,000 or 10,000. Oh, hang on, here, baby. Hang on. So there you go. He decided that they're going to give it away.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, 10,000 free season tickets, and
But the problem is the people's got the 10,000 free season tickets. Are they going to renew it? I very much doubt it. Very much doubt it. You know why? Because they don't want to go back. And if we got to the championship, I don't think they want to go back.
I couldn't, and you wouldn't blame them either. I think, and another thing you mentioned, Melvin, about obviously owners not hiring the right men and all that. I mean, this summer as well, we know Mark Overmars. He wants a new project. This, that, and the other. It would make perfect sense, and it showed us the fans that he's now realising he knows who to hire and things like that. If he was to just being out Vinay, because Vinay isn't doing, even as a marketing man, isn't doing the job. Being out Vinay, give Edu that position, and then bring Overmars in, and let Overmars take over from Edu. Or just do a duo partnership or let Edu learn on the job from Mark Overmars, because Overmars, look at the work he's done over in Ajax.
Fantastic.
The
academy,
everything.
They got a great model, Ajax, haven't they, Ryan?
Fantastic.
20 years. That's brilliant. I mean, as I say,
Overmars
football people to do footballers' jobs.
Yeah, and then they got 3 Arsenal men, and I said to him as the Arsenal manager, Edu Overmars running the recruitment. In whatever way you want to look at it, they'd run the recruitment. Then suddenly you're seeing a change because it's men that have played, not only footballing-minded men, but men that have played for Arsenal and know what it means.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially two of them to win things.
Yeah. Do you know what? You just touched on Mark Overmars, lads. Right? I'd love to see him start to football because he's a footballing man. We've got Lee Charlie, right? He is the director of football in Newcastle, or CEO. He knows absolutely naught about football. Where is he? We haven't even heard. We don't even know where he is. It could be furloughed. It could be hiding away for the club.
Then it's always a disguise.
But one thing I will say, if we get relegated, right? I tell you something now, right? We get relegated, then they're going to send a statement out apologising. We got relegated. So we let the fans down. So this and that and top. Yeah. My advice to them is, I tell them to get lost.
Because, what's good in an apology? What's the good in an apology, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we're sorry we've got you relegated for the third time in how many years? We're sorry you have to go through promotion again in championship level football.
We're not get back up, right? We're not get back up, mate. We're not get back up. Nowhere. Horse here. Because we could be in Leeds or Sunderland, right? Then we have a skeleton squad.
Yeah, the only reason Aston Villa come up as quick as they did in the end is because the new owners came in. That's it.
At the right time.
Because otherwise they'll still be there.
Exactly. And Dean Smith took over from a certain Steve Bruce, right? And then Dean Steve did the job in 6 months. And Steve Bruce did it in 2 years?
2.5 seasons, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Steve Bruce, the guy that walked out on Hull City on the day before the season started.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Literally got him promoted. He got him promoted in the first time round. They came up, went back down straight away. He got him re-promoted via the playoffs. Former West Ham player scored for him. I can't remember his name now. And then the day before the season, the day before the season, he was like, "No, can't stand the owner. I'm out." And then Mike Phelan's left in charge.
Ridiculous.
I can't stand the owner that's been doing money for the last couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. I mean,
I hate that. I hate that manager.
I've never voted the guy anyway. Even when they got in the early 2000s, when he came up with Birmingham City and things like that, and even some at Sheffield United. Because I think when he came up with Birmingham at the time in the early 2000s, he was being heavily touted for the Man United job, and I was like, why? That's because he used to play for them. It was just bizarre when people were touting him for the next Man United to take over from Ferguson, because he has no footballing brain. Let's be honest. Bruce has not got a clue at manager's level how to manage a team. Brutally honest there. But going back to Arsenal, I mean, the season itself, I mean, domestically, it's been abysmal, Melvin. We can agree on that, can't we? We're 10th in the league, quarter-final of a cup, got battered because we bought a goalkeeper replacement in a can't catch a ball, apparently. And the FA Cup, the cup we won last season, we didn't even bother to try to defend it. And now everything now is at a point now where everything is on having to win. If we want European football next season, we have to win the Europa League. That's the only way we're going to get, even though mathematically it is possible. But you're relying on too many teams ahead of you to fuck up in one hit. And then also at the same time relying on Arsenal to go suddenly not have brain fart moments and actually put a consistent run together and win every game and take over these teams. So it's literally all. It's the Europa League or bust, really, for European football-wise. I mean, literally, Melvin's literally, if anyone that's listening to it, he's just nodding along like can't have to really say to it.
I mean, go back on Bruce to walk away a day before the season starts, sort of thing. That's shocking. That just goes to show what a man he is. He's prepared to walk away from the whole city, but he ain't prepared to walk away after Newcastle. After the fans want him out, sort of thing. Yeah. He knows that he want him out, and he's just not listening whatsoever. And that's why he hasn't turned up for training on Thursday, apparently, Bruce. And not only that, I think he went back to Cheshire as well. Giving the players 6 days off is just absolutely shocking. That's unheard of for any football club.
Well, especially when you as a manager, you're managing a team that's in a position of what Newcastle are currently in, and you know you need to win games. Draws are not good enough at the moment. You have to win because there's a team right behind on your tail. If you fuck up once and they counteract that, there's no coming back with it. Like you said, the games you've got coming thick and fast, you've got to play us at your place. You've got Liverpool, you've got City, you've got Tottenham coming up. I think this week. Leicester away. You've got all these teams up amongst of the top.
Fulham have got momentum, haven't they? They got momentum.
Fulham, and then also with Fulham, not just momentum. Because Fulham, the start of the season, we saw first game of the season, Melvin. We did a watch long, and it was like they were. It looked like they were going to be the. Yeah, we thought they were gone. It was going to be another season of like a Derby County season where they were just going to come up and be just there for the numbers basically and come back and that. But then, as the season went on, about like mid-October, November time, they suddenly clicked. Things clicked in place. The manager's faith in certain players and how they were going, it suddenly all clicked for them. And the players care for the club, and they want to play for the manager because they believe in the system.
Do you know what it is, right, guys? I mean, Scotty P, right, as he said, instilled and believe in these players. They believe in Roy's project. They believe in what he's trying to do. Exactly, and done it.
Yeah, because literally at the start of the season, he was being so ultra positive. It was unreal. Because there's them that starts the season for Fulham. It was literally them just getting battered left, right, and centre basically. But no matter what, he would never criticise anyone. And even when the owner came out and apologised after one particular defeat, and basically said the players were absolutely abysmal, shame on them. Scotty Parker went on in a press conference on the attack of the owner and said he should never have done that. That's bang out of order. These are my players. I'm the manager. I'm in charge. And I think it's from that moment and the players are, wow, thank you. And it's built on from that. But they're playing good football, but also they're playing good football.
Yes, they play the correct way. The way football should be played. They should have beaten us at St. James's Park, by the way. That's not a penalty, by the way. But I'll tell you something now, I watched Scott Parker's interviews, right? He's bubbly, he's smiley, you just
no matter what. Yeah, no matter what, he's there.
And if they get beat, he tell it how it is. He says it how it like it is. He just puts hold of them and just say, look, you know what? I've got my tactics wrong there. I've got to put it right, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Yeah, come out and he doesn't make any excuses. We got a manager in Boost, right? And
it's the same thing.
I hopefully, blah, blah, blah. He bigs up oppositions, right? Opponents, right? Opposition every week in his press conference. He bigs them up, right? Yet, he's not bigging our players up. Does he not trust our players or something? If he doesn't, then just walk away because the players don't believe in him. Why is he still there? Why is he suffering any more punishment? Do you know what I mean? It's going to be the same thing over and over and over again. I'm going to do the watch along against Spurs on Sunday week, right? And I'll
join you for that. As a neutral, I'll join you for that one.
Please do. And my advice to them is, and the Burnley game is the week after that, so I think it's a 11:30, 12 o'clock kickoff. And if anyone lives in Japan, Canada, America, Australia, my advice to them, go to bed. I tell them, go to bed.
Don't wake up.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time.
Let's talk about it.
Oh dear.
Let us worry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We'll keep you updated. Don't worry. When you wake up, we'll keep you updated. Just come on.
Just go on your phones. Just get the updates on your phone.
Yeah.
Don't waste the time watching our game.
No, exactly. Yeah. And again, that's again, as a neutral, it does my head in because again, like I said, in my teens, early and just before I hit my teens, Newcastle were up there competing for the title, sort of competing with Sir Bobby Robson of the title and getting Champions League football. And the odd occasion, near the end of his time, the UEFA Cup football, he was constant. Go on, quick, we'll wrap up soon. Go on.
Quickly, right? Go back to 2001 season. We played Charlton Athletic, right, at the Valley. We got beat. We considered 2 goals in the first half. Sean Bartley got one of the goals, and I think he might have got scored twice that day, right? And then Newcastle took 3,000 for that game on a Sunday afternoon, right? 4 o'clock kickoff, and he couldn't even get back after the game, right? Bobby Robson come out on his interview, right? And he was saying these fans woke up early in the morning, spend a hard-earned money, right? And giving us a performance, a first-half performance like that. And Bobby Robson was, God, as a sore.
Because he cared.
Absolutely seething that day, right? Now, could you see Steve Bruce doing that? No, not at all. He wouldn't.
No, because there's a difference. Bobby Robson's not only did he love the club, he's a footballing man.
Yeah, he is.
And, he's been in that position of being a football fan growing up and watching football and being at other clubs and things. So he knows he knows what it means to the fans as well. So he knows then sort of performances ain't on. So he will call it out. He won't hold back. He will bubble up players.
Do you know what he did? Right when he said that after the game, I stood up and I clapped to him for saying those words. And I tell you what, the word he said, he is absolutely on the money. Do you know what I mean? But Steve Bruce against Brighton, he goes, they taught us a lesson. We got punished for it, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean?
They didn't break into a sweat, John, Brighton.
No, they didn't.
Brighton did not seriously break into a sweat. They had their centre-half, the Brighton centre-half, for Dunk, looked like Maradona. Yeah. He had so much time on the ball.
I mean, look
he
how
had the
far
ball, no one went near him.
Exactly. Welbeck's goal, the second goal. Look how far out he took that shot.
Manquillo. And then Boyd took the shot. Look at Shelby's position. He just stood there, didn't give a monkeys, right? And then he flapped his hand saying, hang on a minute, what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? But all the goals conceded, the first goal, I've never seen Kieran Clark defend like that.
No.
He is up for the first goal.
Yeah, it was like I was saying earlier when we touched on that game. Even I had it on and I was like, the players, not one player truly gives a shit about Steve Bruce. They all want him gone.
Yeah.
This is a massive signal to Mark Ashley. And then for Mark Ashley the next day to say, no, total faith in Steve. Buried his head in the sand, so to speak. And that attitude, it's just like, are you for real? Again, because of how I said earlier, how loyal Newcastle fans are, no matter what. You feel your state 54 back, no matter what. When fans are obviously been allowed in previous times, we've been relegated and all that, or whatever times you've been in, that place is rammed. Even at Championship level, it's rammed week in, week out. No other club has that sort of capacity stadium, even at Championship level, and would week in, week out, no matter what, sell that stadium out. And again, but yeah, as I said, Steve Bruce doesn't care. Mark Ashley doesn't give a shit either. And the longer they're both, it's like for them, for them it's like a match made in heaven because they both have the same mindset. But for you guys, it's hell because it's just repeat, and it ain't going to get any better unless they're both gone.
Exactly, and for me,
this is worse than Steve McLaren's season for me.
Definitely.
But yeah,
definitely. I can't say any more than that because you're right, and I just think now something needs to happen because if we get beat heavily against Spurs, which is a possibility,
this could happen because of the talent they've got. Bale's on hitting form because he wants to prove a point for the Euros. Apparently, Son, Kane. Look at them names alone. Them 3 names will give you trouble if you don't turn up. And I mean, Newcastle have been that bogey team to Tottenham before in years gone by. I mean, you've always, but I don't think they will. I don't think going by that Brighton game. I don't think they'll even bother if Steve Bruce is still there come next weekend because they was like, oh well, whatever. Because he's not sending the right signals out. He's not doing the right things, like taking time off and being up. I hope he's having Cheshire. No, your team's in trouble. Get your ass in at fucking training and get your players what you've got sorted and ready for that game. But don't be silly.
The club is an absolute shambles, unfortunately. I'm telling you now, it's a shambles. They think it's like a circus at the club. I mean, Ashley is in Dubai, ain't giving a toss. Lee Chonley doesn't give a toss. They're the only 2 who's running the club. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Steve Bruce, you hear now from him whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? But I tell you what, I thought now the press on Friday stick one on him and asking questions. Why is he giving players 6 days off? Why is he going to Cheshire and take time off? Yeah. Is this going to be his last game? Are you going to give the players a go? Are you going to allow the players to stretch themselves? Are you going to change tactics? Do you know what I mean? Because I'll tell you something, right? Has he lost the dressing room? He fell off, and also Miggy Almiron, right? He wants to win because he wants to go to a club where they want to fight for titles, fight for European football.
Yeah. You know? He's a decent player, he is. He's a decent player.
He is.
Decent. Yeah, decent.
Can we have him, please? Just in case Udegaard goes. If Udegaard goes, I'll have him one.
Hey, I tell you what, though, if I also get him, I think he'd be decent for you because that guy works so hard. And
he does.
And let me tell you something, right? Whoever gets him, sort of thing, has got a cracking, hard-working player that can score goals, can make goals. But if we stay up this season, even if we do stay up, I want to clear out. Clear out.
You need to clear out. You need to clear out not just players. You need to start management staff all out as well.
Yeah.
Because if you do stay up, and I hope you do touch wood.
Well,
you know what Mark Ashley will do. Always stay up. Then okay, Steve Bruce another season, and you know that that's the case. Players will just go, oh, fuck this, and there's just from day one from that season, be like, okay, whatever, cool, yeah. Oh, we lost 6-0. Oh well, because they're not playing for the manager. And the longer that goes on, there's more. You will be bottom of the Premier League, and you will have that Derby County name around your neck of the worst team in Premier League history and things like that down your throat as well. While Steve Bruce is in charge, so it's like we can't win no matter what happens. Steve Bruce nicely won't fuck off. But with that,
have a player strike. Have a player strike, and just say, look, I do not want to play for this manager. Have a player strike.
Yeah,
they're doing that anyway.
What's the worst that can happen at this moment in time? Anyway,
it's going to happen.
It's going to get. If Ashley does do that, in fact, because in Steve Bruce, I trust and all that crap. Still, it will come to that. You'll have even though you've got players in international duty for their countries for the Euros and all that, they'll still be doing their political thing of when my country's out, I'm not going back to Newcastle while that man is still there. And and things like that, they'll do think it'll come to that. If it comes to that, then you've got to think, okay, he's got to go then. But with that, I mean, someone's phone is ringing, so we'll wrap up now. So we've got nearly 2 hours as well. So it's been a good podcast as well. And I mean, John, where can people find you on your channel and what you've got coming up along with your watch-alongs and all that?
Okay, right. I'm back on. You find us on. Type in John Sinclair, and if you type in NUFC, it'll come up. I do like Q's and A's. I'll do that this week. I'm going to interview a Spurs fan on Tuesday for the match preview. Flicks one, only for Flicks. And I'll do the press conference reactions on Friday around 7 o'clock and do a watch along on Sunday. It's on Sunday for the Newcastle Spurs game. That'll be on the Sunday. And I'm going to host the full-time show because Baz is at work. It'll be my turn for about, I think it's about 8 o'clock past. But please check out the last. I do content and talk about Lord Day, like transfer update, and interview the oppositions as well. And yeah, I'm always there.
Yeah. And Melvin, what about yourself?
I'm on this channel. Thank you very much. I'm on from Dull Square to Where, and I'm also on over and over and over again with Richard. So I'm really enjoying that. Glad to be back, getting the old blood going through the veins again. Looking forward to the weekend.
Just on top of the weekend.
Yeah, Liverpool. There we go.
Yeah, Saturday, 8 o'clock kickoff. Yeah, 8 o'clock is a late kickoff as well. Because we moved to, I believe it's 8 o'clock. Double check, obviously, and we'll get that sorted. But yeah, that's what's
good.
on for
Lovely.
that.
Thanks again.
Yeah, no worries. And obviously, for the other guys that are on as well, if you want to find where Rose is, her channel is, I'll put this back up on the screen as well. This is where you find the channel, Everton Rose. Go and find her out. Everton content. Really good content. Just go and check her out. Anything Everton related, that's the place to go for me. And obviously, Daniel was on before the Man United fan, Devil in the Detail. Go and follow him on Twitter, and you'll find all the stuff he does on there, where you find him on podcasts or whatever. And then, and also, as I said, do go and subscribe to John's channel as well, and Paul's channel, who couldn't make it on tonight. Content for myself. I've got to watch another England watch along on Wednesday. Against Poland. I wonder how that's going to fucking turn out. Lewandowski hat-trick incoming for Poland. Review. I'm going to do a preview on the Friday. Do the watch along on the Saturday. And because it's a late kickoff, do the review on the Sunday because it's a late kickoff and all that malarkey. Do review and play ratings on that. And we'll kick on from there, basically. And until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening, the rest of your weekend. Thanks again, John, Rose, Daniel, Melvin, and everyone in the chat as well. Alpha, Shane, Russ, Valney, the lot of yous. Again, do smash that like button. Do subscribe. Do share if you're new to the channel. You've liked what we've done. These also done tonight as well. And also, if you want to listen to this back again, in about half hour to an hour's time, it will be up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor as well, along with other respectable podcasts as well. In the next hour, audio version. So go and check that out as well, and go and give that a follow. And until next time, guys, as always, up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners.